Earlier this week, I did a video in regards to the Hunger Games, its box office hold. I guess that's probably the best way that we can put that. And the fact that Rachel Zegler, known for her ability to yap, had simply silenced that. And I gave her kudos for the fact that she wasn't in the headlines like she had been previously, and that somebody more than likely ended up getting in her ear. And I'll show you some behind the scenes. I'll show you a little inside baseball stuff. Here's the analytics on said video. You can kind of see the thumbnail that's out there. In fact, fuck it. There you go, right here. Okay, I'm many things if not transparent. It's, is doing about as well as it would, and there you can see the like to dislike ratio. People weren't exactly the biggest fans, okay? It has, like 13 likes on YouTube to, hell if I even know, whatever it makes it to 26, okay? I'd show you the rest of this stuff, but to be completely honest, I don't want to ruin any of the illusions that are out there and spoil any upcoming projects that I might have for everyone. But I say all that to say this, okay? That video, I stand by everything that I said in those 9.5 minutes that was out there. She did good. She did good for the film. She did good for the Hunger Games. That is, well, it's, going to hit $250 million and eventually break even. But at the end of the day, it's still going to end up making half of the least most successful original quartet of films that came out in the Hunger Games franchise. It's still going to be far and away the lowest grossing film in Suzanne Collins' repertoire, even though it might make back its budget, and it's not going to fall along the exact same lines of every other bomb that has come out in 2023. But a studio, even as pitiful as Lionsgate, doesn't put up $100 million in order to make 10? 20 when it's all said and done. And even as good as the getting is right now, still raking in, still actually hasn't had a 6-digit day. Good on them. Excellent hold. Great legs. Better than I can say about any of the other two subjects of the rest of this video after we do the preamble. Once Wonka hits theaters, okay, like the women, because it's the women who's turning out to this, right? Something like 65% of the audience is female in this case, big spoiler on that one. So when Wonka comes in, you're going to have all of those piss-stinking cat ladies that went from the Hunger Games film over to something that they also equally like and appreciate, a non-threatening male and a big chocolate bar. So of course they're going to have a nice easy transition off to the next thing, and yeah, this will just fade into obscurity. Nobody will remember it. It probably won't get a sequel because it didn't end up turning a profit that the studio can hold up as any sort of a success, unless of course you just continue to paint it and hey, it came out in the year with Indiana Jones, The Flash, Ant-Man and Quantumania, Blue Beetle, Shazam 2. Oh, we don't want to talk about that one because our leading lady in that one was also in that. The Marvels, Aquaman 2, right? Like, we aren't that bad, right? We're the tallest midget in the room. But because Rachel Zegler right there, went to social media where she's known to run her mouth, deride Gina Carano, and lead the cancel wagon in order to take her down because she didn't want to take pronouns seriously, would ruthlessly mock Jeremy Renner and call him, everything under the sun that a woman can falsely accuse on a man, doesn't make her a good person. All I'm doing is just simply pointing out good behavior. And, of course, like I said, that came out earlier this week. Go and watch it if you haven't. I stand by everything that I said in there. And, in fact, my critique in that previous video, much like something else that ended up getting ratioed like I give a fuck over on the Rumble side of things, was my breakdown of that Lady Ballers trailer, the Daily Wire comedy, in big fucking air quotes, now that everybody has seen it. What's the best thing that you've heard about it? Oh, you really haven't heard about it at all. But everybody who's reviewed it is like, yeah, nice try. I laughed a couple of times. Nobody actually thinks that it's funny. It still has all of those ideological trappings that we pointed out in the trailer, and that, oh no, I got drug across the coals over there on Tradcuck Central. And it's like, guys, I'm just calling balls and strikes on this one. I don't make the news. I just report it. And when I seen something that just looked like right-wing SJW propaganda, I will fucking call it out the same way I'm going to do for the left, okay? I try to be as objective as possible. When I see something going well, I'm going to say that it's going well. When I think that something's going to be a fucking dud, I will go ahead and set the record straight. So when I see a headline like this, that Rachel Zegler is thankful for Snow White Backlash, I look at her and I go, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? Like, you don't have anything on your IMDb page coming up. You have nothing. in your fucking resume looking forward into the future. Your career prospects are all hanging on that Snow White gimmick. You got a voice acting role for next year. That's nice. And some post-production on a Y2K gimmick that doesn't even have a release date. Like, everything is hanging on Snow White. And you want to try to poison that ground even further. But I've also, like I said, I'm going to be everything if not objective when it comes to reporting on this stuff, because, well, that's the only way I do this stuff. Rachel Zegler, this headline is actually doing her a disservice, and in fact, kind of also lends to the speculation that the media just wants to have a punching bag that's out there, and Rachel made herself the most pristine example of that, because all of these outlets got mad clicks when it came to her with all of her stupid comments that ended up surfacing in on and around the D23 and 2022 time. She was talking mad shit about Snow White, but I'll give you a little bit of a refresher in that very shortly, because I want to compare and contrast a couple of things, because now that Rachel shut her mouth on social media, still seems to be the case right now, haven't seen anything different at all. It is the most clearest example of somebody getting in her ear telling her to shut the fuck up, otherwise I'm going to beat you again with that rubber hose. So this headline right here is more in service of trying to push a narrative than actually relaying the truth in this. So where does this all come from? Well, Snow White actress Rachel Zegler had a surprising take on an avalanche of criticism she faced online. Zegler, who rose to fame, yes, after she got tapped by Steven Spielberg. Not like that. That's more of that's a different, Steenberg type gimmick, okay? She was just set up to be the next Hollywood darling. It's just, should have checked for talent first. Has frequently been the target of online trolls aiming at her outspoken views. So yeah, okay, if you could at least recognize that, the outspoken views, maybe this headline makes a little bit more sense, because outspoken, no, they're just kind of the childish ramblings of a fucking ideological moron with no real guidance in her life. She recently sat down with Halle Bailey. Yes, somebody else who also had a film come out this year. What was that one called? The little walleye, right? Yeah, no, that came out during the summer, and it made $568 million. But also, take a look at that fucking, box office production budget. It didn't make money at all. Remember, they only get a fraction of that international box office, and when you're trying to run the numbers to see if something's going to be profitable, 2.5 times is about the bog standard when it comes to clearing that low bar. But guys, don't worry, it was the biggest deal on D+ streaming. Cool, that same platform that you guys are hemorrhaging subscribers on, I'm sure it's great. So yes, two of Disney's most recent recasting of princesses sat down on Variety's Actors on Actors. Wasn't even like that, and plus I don't want to see wildlife go at it. YouTube series at the discussion around online trolling came up, and to be fair, to be completely honest, Rachel Zegler, during this interview, wasn't the most insufferable person. Okay, I know, this is wild to think, but that's the way it is, man. Bailey was also at the center of a social media storm when cast as Ariel, because yeah, even little black girls who grew up and liked Little Mermaid was like, Ariel's white, she has red hair, and I don't know if that one can swim, but I know she can look around a mean corner as Ariel in Disney's live action remake of The Little Mermaid. It's hilarious, right? Because Halle Bailey, God, that must be so annoying. You should probably figure out, a way to change your name, because maybe that's stopping you from getting additional work as well. So here's two chicks, okay? Here's two chicks who have absolutely nothing on their plate going forward. But yeah, okay. Halle has a lot of experience. She's also a singer, which also must be it must be a big hit to the ego when the most memorable song from The Little Mermaid ended up being that insufferable Aquafina rap. But I won't actually play that for you guys because I value my audience. But yeah, what was it? The Halle chick? Was she like a Disney kid growing up or something like this? This Chloe and Haley shit. Like, there's a whole bunch of spots for that. But obviously, she's been around the block for a while. But I guess her 15 minutes of fame is up, or maybe she's pregnant, or I don't know. Maybe DDG is really fucking raking in the YouTube rap cash like that, so she doesn't need to work all that hard. The pair chatted about how they handled the pressure and how they dealt with trolls. Now, I could go ahead and read this to you guys, Or I can play the clip right here, and oh boy, a brace for impact. It's a minute and 55, but it's going to feel a whole hell of a lot longer than that, I guarantee.
The way you are just so graceful and respond and don't, it's just the most beautiful thing to see. Because it's hard being women under the spotlight.
Guys, it's hard being women, for being, handpicked out of nowhere to just be given all of this stuff, even without any talent, okay? Even without having to look like the character that you're being cast as, okay? It's really hard to do that, okay?
People are so critical and just say anything that they would never say to your face.
No.
So
Right? They'd never say it to your face. Trust me, okay? You keep yourself well insulated. If you're going to be as insufferable as you were, and I've actually never heard like a Halle Bailey interview, mostly because, yeah, when she was cast, everybody was like, that's not Ariel. But for her part, at least I didn't see it. Maybe she did, okay? But she didn't spurg out the same way that Rachel Zegler did. But as you can note right now, it's a very different Rachel Zegler to that same chick with the, smacked ass expression on her face down there at the D23 Expo. But before she speaks, I want to go ahead and play this little clip just to refresh everybody's memory prior to the PR sit down and talking to and rubber hose beating that she likely got. This was her, just no restraints, just tweeting up a storm, posting, passive aggressive comments on Instagram, just full unfettered narcissism.
You said you were bringing a modern edge to it.
That's not her voice, by the way.
On stage. What do you mean by that?
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not.
Let's just go ahead and pause for Gal Gadot's great delivery. Can't wait for her to be the evil queen. Sure thing.
She's going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true. And so it's just a really incredible story for, I think, young people everywhere to see themselves in.
Snow White is running for president.
I'm launching my campaign.
Yeah, yeah, I'm. But compare and contrast with this interview right here, after we get done with this side of the bitch babble, we got a totally different version of that.
how's that been for you, being able to navigate it?
Choosing thankfulness and
Yes.
gratefulness is choosing peace. And
Do you notice the delivery change in that one? Just instead of lashing out, I just decided to choose thankfulness, introspective. I started to meditate. Okay, I changed my diet. I started to become vegan. This is the exact same fucking horoscope watching, tarot card reading bullshit that a fucking crystal waving idiot is likely to just wave in front of your face. She just happens to be a multi-million-dollar idiot. But this is the same type of fucking basic bitch shit that you're likely to hear fucking anywhere, okay? It's just a different tone of vacuous inanity that she was out there saying about a year ago. Rachel Zegler is a container that is shaped like whatever liquid is poured into her. Nothing more, nothing less. But don't worry, the cringe is still coming. It is bad right now, but it gets worse.
as much as you'd like to remind people verbally that
Yes.
being in the spotlight doesn't absolve you of your humanity, that you're allowed to have
God, there is so... I have my background when it comes to my education, okay? I'm a certified exercise physiologist, all that stuff. I teach people how to pick up heavy things and put them back down. I've never really aspired to become an architect or, anything like that, an engineer, if you will, but I see that much vacant real estate between these two chicks' eyes, and I'm just thinking all of the great suspension bridges that we can create right there. Holy shit, I'm really hoping that this interview right here, in order to fully encapsulate everything, was shot in the IMAX format, because that's about the only way you're going to get them both in the same frame. That's why we've, just seen this 180-degree framing.
human moments.
Yes.
It doesn't necessarily do what you want it to do, and it fuels
I bet you she's a smoker because, okay, for as much shit as I've given Halle Bailey for having absolutely wonky old fucking eyes, the likes of which you haven't seen without, just flapping animatronic gums when it's got a big mouth Billy Bass placard underneath of it. Just have some nice teeth though. I gotta keep it there. But Rachel on the other hand, holy man, what does she brush with base L? That's terrible.
necessarily do what you want it to do, and it fuels them more.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
so, just as you said, it's like choosing to be present and know that
Present.
they are probably just having a really hard day.
Yes.
And I am putting out a movie.
Amen.
Oh my god. Okay, she's about to do the most cringe shit ever, but did you catch that for a second? Okay, there you could catch just a couple of the inclinations of her still just trying to work through her old personality into what her people thought would be far more appropriate out there, because she still did a little, see, okay, I'm so much better than you. But then at the same time, her delivery has obviously been coached, okay? But she's saying, oh, everybody that hates me, they're just having a hard day. But then at the same time, they don't realize how hard I'm working as an adult pretender. We are not the same, okay? I go through such difficult stress. That also harkens back to the real Rachel Zegler when she was out there on the picket line saying, for every hour that I'm in that dress, I was in that dress for 18 hours. I deserve to get paid for every minute I was in that dress. That's more her. Okay, with the goofy little body posture movements to just passive-aggressively drive home her point, because she's, what, 5 foot fuck all, so of course she's not going to intimidate anybody. But it's all of these passive-aggressive tones where it's like, oh, my life is so hard and you plebs will never fucking understand. But she's working on it, okay? Gotta give her credit for that. It's just... what she's saying right now, she obviously doesn't believe, but that is so many actors that's out there. So to just simply single her out for being disingenuous, I mean, come on, you're just sitting across from somebody who's about to cringe, make you cringe right out of your fucking skin.
Amen. That's right.
And I
Whoa, that's right. That's right. That's right. Okay, because everybody else is wrong. That's right. Fucking Z-snap, okay? Fuck is wrong with you? Jesus. I've seen that to begin with, and it's like, oh god, I just lost a few years off of my life. It's like, what the fuck are we doing here? But that's just another thing, man. You can go ahead and give these chicks scripts to read, okay? You can go ahead and say that, no, Little Mermaid wasn't that bad, okay? Or Halle Bailey, okay, she was actually good as Ariel. It was just the script that let her down. And the same thing goes with, you know, whatever apologia we're eventually going to end up being inundated with when Snow White eventually plops out into theaters. No, Rachel Zegler was fine. It was just simply the script that let her down. What point in time can we finally point to these legal aged adults? Zegler 22 or 24, Halle Bailey, don't know, don't really care. They're all veterans in the game. This isn't their first time around, okay? They aren't being led around by their parents to just go places as fucking minors, okay? They took these roles. They took these roles that they know, by simple virtue of their looks, they are not qualified to faithfully adapt. It's just the fucking way that it is, okay? For as cool as I think Blade is, if somebody offered me a script to be the new Blade once Mahershala Ali eventually, you know, fucking leaves the MCU project, I am not the right casting for that. It could be a fantastic script, but at the end of the day, a lot of the people are going to go, that's not Blade. Just the same way that they're going to look at her and go, that's not Snow White, because Snow White has a particular description. You know, Snow White, skin as white as snow. And the same thing with Ariel, okay? I don't remember the last time that she was, you know, having a back and forth with Sebastian, singing about shit that's under the sea and then punctuating her verse with a fucking Z-snap. I don't remember that in the 1989 classic. You might have done a great job. You might have knocked it out of the park. But at some point in time, okay, you either gotta reconcile the fact that these people are worthy of critique, and you can't continue to just blame it on the shitty writing, which there is plenty of shitty writing. There's a lot of blame to go around in modern day Disney. Don't get it twisted. But when you get these entitled chicks who just lavish themselves and all of this attention, because when it's all said and done, that's exactly what this is. Oh, look at all that backlash that was out there. I was talked about so much all over the internet, because for every time somebody points out some valid critique or just simply wants to make some fucking, you know, wide-eyed jokes, for every person, you know, funny enough to craft a couple of those, there is going to be at least a half dozen other simps and stands that'll be out there just going, no, you're a queen. It's just attention harvesting. That's exactly what this is, but we'll continue.
That's right.
Oof.
And I feel so thankful for those moments.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It started to make me feel like solid Teflon.
Yes.
As opposed to the other type of Teflon, it's not really something that you could say is not solid. Okay.
That it can't really, that nothing can hurt anymore.
Amen.
Because they've said the worst that can be said, and you just kind of say, thank you so much for this. I have a lot of love in my life,
Yes.
and I'm very thankful.
Yes, yeah, that's just a bunch of fucking bitch babble at this point in time, okay? I've got so much love in my life, I don't really need anything else to help me, okay? But it's just airhead babble, which just also shows you that these broads, when they fucking, you know, ramble off at the mouth. The same with, okay, one of the most famous examples of vacuous actors is Robert De Niro. I love a lot of Robert De Niro's work, okay? Most of his, you know, Martin Scorsese gangster shit and everything else past that when he thought, I can be funny. No, Rob, at this point in time, everybody's laughing at you, not with you. But if you've ever seen a Robert De Niro interview, a little homework for you if you're so inclined, go check them out, okay? One-word answers. One-word answers and nothing of real substance ever falls out of his fucking decrepit old jaw. But that's the business in a nutshell. While stars of yesteryear have gotten critique, it was just more difficult to get to them. If you really despise the Cary Grant performance, okay, you would have to write a letter, you would have to figure out the address of the movie studio, you'd have to buy the postage stamp, send it on out there, and then by that time you're probably just on to the next thing that you care about, and a new fucking, you know, radio drama has come out that you can go occupy yourself with. But in this point in time, you know, whenever some, you know, goofy broad, you know, spouts off at the mouth, you just have immediate access on multiple different avenues. You can go on Twitter, you can go on Instagram, hell, you can make a video on YouTube if you see something that's just exceptionally stupid and you want to point and laugh at it. Critiques of actors, of entertainers have been around forever. Christ almighty, like I said about YouTube, you can go ahead and voice your displeasure or pleasure in the comment section. I'm not soliciting comments, by the way. That's just the unique feature of all this stuff. You can put your ideas out there. The world will criticize them how they see fit. It might not be founded, it might not be rational, but that's okay, man. That's the beauty of free speech. That's the beauty of this type of discussion. Rachel Zegler has done some good stuff. Not any of her work or anything like that. Lord knows, she's a talentless hack with a very short shelf life going forward. But she is not dissimilar from every other rank-and-file woman that's out there in Hollywood, or any rank-and-file actor that's out there. All of them are just trying to go along to get along, and will say whatever they need to in order to just make sure that the check's clear. But when you end up having box office bombs or box office break-evens, like the Hunger Games, those paychecks, yeah, they're going to be few and far between going forward. So, with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.